K5 Blazer needs a new paint job. Has obvious Bondo work with little rust spots and possibly painted with enamel. How should I tackle this? It's all gray and thinking of painting it black. Should I go down to metal with paint stripper or DA sand epoxy prime? Can you add Bondo to old Bondo? Thanks again. I joined your VIP a few days ago. Okay, Eric. Um, Obviously, you probably didn't really go through much VIP trainings yet if you joined a couple days ago. Guys, if you're looking to get some free auto body information, don't forget to hit up learnautobodyandpaint.com. I'm giving away some free training on this page here. I'm going to post a link, and then we're going to go ahead and answer Eric's question. So, Eric, number one thing you want to think about is this a sentimental job, or is it something that you just want to put a paint job on that'll look good for 5 to 10 years and you're not going to worry about it too much? Or is this like a collector showpiece type of job? Like, what kind of job do you want to put on this thing, right? That's the number one thing you want to think about. And also, what type of money and time do you want to put into this thing? You know, are you going to put do you want to get all top quality materials? You're going to take your time, you're doing a really good job, or you're just going to do something quick, get it sanded down and just looking good? Because you could do a pretty quick and easy paint job and have it come out decent. It depends on what your end result, your ideal end result is going to be. Okay. If it's going to be a sentimental show job, you're going to keep it in the garage, you want to put the best paint job on, then you might want to strip it down. You might want to, but it's not necessary. If it's an enamel single stage paint job on it, you could just sand the paint down. As long as the car hasn't been painted 4 or 5 times, you really don't have to strip it. If it's painted 2-3 times max, 3 times max, you can get away with. So maybe it's you got the original color, it's been painted before, you could probably paint it again, okay, without stripping it. But any more than that, unless it's going to be like a quick wham bam thank you ma'am paint job, like you just want to paint it and sell it, flip type of thing, yeah, you could put the 4th paint job on it or the 5th paint job on it. It's still going to look good, but you're just going to have a lot of paint on it, right? So think about those types of things. If it's going to be a sentimental thing that you might want to strip it down or sand it down to metal, put some epoxy primer on it, followed by a 2K filler primer on it. Block it out. If you got body work, you can just grind through the primer, do your body work. Or while it's in the metal stage, you could do your body work, get it all flat, shape it while it's in the metal stage, put your epoxy primer on it, let that dry for a few hours, put 2 to 3 coats of 2K filler primer on it. Then you're ready to block out and paint. So hopefully that helps. Has obvious Bondo rust work with little rust spots, possibly painted with enamel. How should I tackle this? It's all gray. So, Eric, did I help? Did that answer your questions? Comment down below. Best product for painting wheels. You can go with regular automotive paint. Regular automotive paint is on automotive wheels. Maybe some plastic fairing that I massaged a dent out of. Do I have to use a plastic body filler designed for that, or can I use standard body filler? You could use standard body filler, brother. No problem. You can use regular body filler, Evercoat, PPG, whatever brand you want to use, body filler over plastic fairings, because it's going to be very thin, no issues at all. Okay. X27 low volume, low pressure that came with a 1.3 and 1.4. I'm spraying metallic base coat and clear coat. Air volume is not an issue. Which tip do you prefer? I like to spray with the 1.4 always. That's kind of like my go-to, but it doesn't mean that I won't use the 1.3. They're very, very close and similar. Very close and similar. So either or will work, okay? Just because it's a 1.3 doesn't mean that it's not going to spray your flakes out well, because the metallic paint will go through, it'll go through a 1.0 with no problem, okay? So a 1.3 to 1.4, Every painter has a preference. The only way you can tell is by actually using it yourself and spraying it with it yourself. You know what I mean? If I told you, it's different. You have to feel it for yourself. So either or will be okay for you. Just try it. My preference when spraying any type of base coat, clear coat, I go with the 1.4. But sometimes I'll have a demo gun that I'm doing for you guys. I'll have a demo gun that I'm using. And the one that I get sometimes is a 1.3. Then I'll just use the 1.3. This is the Atom X88 Blue Moon Infinity. Not the Blue Moon. It's the Infinity. The Blue Moon. The only difference between these two guns are the colors. It's the same exact thing. Some people ask me, "Hey Tony, I seen you paint with those cool looking guns. What's the difference in the X88? It's just the colors. This is the Blue Moon is like this color, the blue and gold, and then the Infinity is this orange, purple, red with the gold with the orange caps. They're both 1.3, and I sprayed the van with these things. So it's what you want to use. It's really what you want to use. I have a 1.3 X27 here, and this is a 1.4 X27 that I like to use also. I got my adapter on here to spray with the quick cup system, the disposable cups, right? So yeah, hopefully that helps. Can I guide coat left in scratches be bondoed or primered over? Do you have to clean it out? So if you have scratches, wash it out, right? Before you prime, wash it, and then 2K filler primer will fill scratches, up to 80 grit. So no problems, but I don't like to directly prime over 80 grit. I like to, take it down to at least a 150, 220, and then I like to prime over that, So, because shaping 80 grit, when you're shaping body filler and bondo, 80 grit is pretty much where you want to be, unless you're doing some crazy custom work and you need to really cut. Then you'll use a 40 or a 60 grit sandpaper, on a straight sander or DA. But normally, if you lay your body filler on close to the metal and it's not really crazy, then 80 grits where you want to be. And then after the 80, I like to just kind of knock it down to 150, 220 before I put my 2K filler primer up to fill those scratches, the Bondo. And 1.3 for clear coats, just because it sprays slower for my clears and helps me prevent runs. That's fine. You could do that, and I have a few friends in the auto body industry, in the field, and that's exactly what they do. They use a 1.4 for base coats, get it on nice and wide and good, the wide fan pattern, and then they use the 1.3 for clear coats. Either or for me, it doesn't matter. I'll use both 1.3, 1.4, no issues. I kind of like the 1.4 because it gives me a little bit more material coming out, and I just cover it. I lay it on good. What is the best recommended paint to paint over wheels and rims? Should I sand them with what? So here's what I'm going to do with these rims. Okay, these are standard silver painted rims. Okay, automotive paint. It's just basically, this is just automotive paint, guys. Nothing fancy. They're painted the same stuff that's on the car. Okay, this is silver metallic. I am going to take these rims off, right? I am going to scuff them up with like 400 grit. Okay, 400 or 600 grit. Get it all sanded down. Clean. I'm going to wash it really well first. In the back, I'm going to clean it really well. We're going to tape up the rim because I'm not going to take the tires off. What can water-based cleaners be used on and not used on? And what can solvent-based cleaners be used on and not used on? Give me an example. Like, what are you trying to do? Like, you could use solvent-based cleaners like wax and grease remover and all that on top of dry primer. But if you spray base coat, like base coat paint, and you try to wipe that down with wax and grease remover, no good, because it's going to literally melt your paint, you know. So you want to be careful with solvent cleaners. That's what I'm thinking of what you're asking, like a type of question with that. Like you could use. Um, do you have a good homemade wax and grease remover? Well, guys, you can go out and buy wax and grease remover, right? Or you can use. I like Sprayway. The aerosol can. This is good before a paint job. You can use this stuff over primer before a paint job, or over sanded clear coat, or over single stage paint. Okay, this is not going to hurt it. You could also use a Windex, but I like this better. So if you're on the metal stage, then on the primer stage, then on the bundle stage, you're answering it. Yes. Yeah. So metal stage, usually you want to use a wax and grease remover. Okay. Or something like this before you spray your epoxy primer. Okay. Bondo stage, I don't put any cleaner. I just air blow it. Like I'll shape my body filler and then I'll blow it, take all the dust off, and I'll spray my primer right on top of that. You don't even want to mess with it. Some people could, some guys do put wax and grease remover on it, but it's not needed. As long as you blow it out, you get the dust out, you're good, because you're sanding, it's clean, the body work is there. You know what I mean? You're not really worried about it. I mean, what you want to do is make sure before you do any type of body work on a car, or sanding on a car, is wash the thing down with dish soap. A little bit of Dawn dish soap in a 5-gallon bucket. You want to wash your project down. Take off all the tar, the wax and grease on the paint. This is what I use: Palmolive or Dawn, any one of these things. Okay, I have a bunch of these laying around all over the house. That's what you want to use. It's great for dishes. It cuts out the grease and wax or whatever. It's going to take it off the car. Okay, and then you do your sanding. So, and every VIP project and Learn Autobody VIP, I tell you that, and I show you that throughout the whole steps. Number one, what's the most important thing? Clean your project down before you start sanding or doing body work. That's number one. And if you're going to be using a wax and grease remover, that's going to be before you paint. Okay. Number one is using a dish detergent soap. I'm going to make a tri-coat project like a color shift paint. You know what? I could add some pearls to this project here. Maybe I'll do something on the Tesla. Maybe I'll do something on the back of the Tesla. Have the front, the Jeep pink, and then we'll do the back like a color shift blue purple, something like that. It's a possibility. Question, Abraham. I have a 20-gallon compressor and I painted a little accent long ago. Now I want to paint my 2012 F-150. Will it be enough pressure if I take stages? Wow. I mean, that's a very small volume. But if you're going to do it in stages, I'm assuming you could, panel by panel or 2 panels at a time, you could do it. But it's a very small air compressor. And that's a big truck. I'm not sure if that's a quad cab or not, but that's a pretty big truck, dude. So, it is, you could, if that's all you have to work with, then you can make it happen. If you could upgrade, to a 60-gallon, you would be golden. Something like this. 60-gallon, that's enough to paint a complete car with no sweat. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in. Check the links down below if you're on the replay. And I'll see you next week, same time.